Well, we'll see. Will you believe when I was 18, I had a silver dollar collection?
I could go on and on. Now, back to business.
He had green skin.
Yeah.
Did you bring condoms?
You know, you read what others had done, and you took the next step. You didn't earn the knowledge for yourselves, so you don't take any responsibility for it.
19 men in 3 days.
Definitely.
Guys, we're just going to have a great time together this afternoon.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another Night Talk Live. My name is Midnight Mike, a.k.a. The Night Ripper, a.k.a. Michael Kick, a.k.a. The Young Jizzer, a.k.a. Patrick London, a.k.a. Chuck Tingle, a.k.a. The One Who Walks the Earth. I think that's all I got. That's all the names I have for now. I might be missing something. Hey, thanks for everyone showing up in the live chat, the live YouTube stream. If you want the audio-only version of this, you can subscribe to the Patreon. There's a link on the website that's just been updated. I'm working out some DNS issues, some domain issues. So if you get a warning saying, hey, there's some goofy stuff going on, usually by Google browser, Chrome, don't worry about that. You can click through and the site works normally. I'm not asking for any login information, any payment information on the site right now, so there's really no exchange of information. All the link provides, or all the site provides, is links to the show, Patreon, and all that kind of stuff. And the donations and Patreon are handled by third parties. So don't worry about it, okay? But yeah, the new site is out there. ourbigdumbount.com, obdmpod.com. Check it out. And many thanks to my girlfriend, Rihanna, who diligently worked with me, very patiently worked with me to get that site up and running and looking good. So big thanks to my girlfriend. Let me give her a ding for that. Thank you very much. It wouldn't have gotten done without her. It may have been. It would have gotten done, but probably just like a year from now. So thanks to everyone helping out, drawing illustrations and cartoons for it. It was fun to work on. It was fun to make some new artwork and get a site up there that people can use on multiple different browsers and have it function in a very similar format. The previous site didn't have that. I think people with Firefox users were having trouble accessing the site. Listen, when you program a website by yourself from the server up, you're bound to forget a few testing browsers, like the biggest one, probably one of the bigger ones out there, Firefox. Okay. Well, lesson learned. Tonight on the show, as you might be able to see from the title, I don't know if you can read. I can't. But for those of you who do read, we're going to be talking about the Skinwalker Ranch a little bit. I've been reading through that book, and there's a new movie coming out in mid-September. We'll talk about that a little bit. We'll also talk about disappearing objects. Things that just happen. You saw them 1 second, and the next second, they're gone. Like I'm looking for my keys. I knew they're on the goddamn table. I go to get my keys. They're not there. Then you look all around the house like you're some sort of buffoon, tearing everything apart, flipping couches over. And then you go back and look at the table, and there they are. Exactly where you thought you put them. So we talked about that a little bit. There's also a Dogman sighting or a man-dog sighting. I don't know which one it is, but that's a story. And I believe there is some sort of video evidence, possibly photography. Don't know which yet. I just saw the headline, grabbed it for the show. And possibly we might have some Bigfoot erotica. I know it's been a hot topic. People have been talking about it all over the news. I never thought that I would see the day where Bigfoot erotica would be the subject of mainstream talk. But here we are, 2018, and it is in the news. So it might be nice to read through some Bigfoot erotica so people can get an overall feel for what it is, what it includes. I'm sure we all can speculate. Sure, we all have an imagination. Sure, there's probably a penis or two involved in these romance novels featuring Bigfoot or other cryptids. But we'll get the hard facts here soon. We'll read down some paragraphs. I'll peer at the books, try to read, so we can have an entertaining and fun time. So everyone out there can just relax, sit back, and enjoy the madness.
Uh-huh.
All right. I'm glad we're all on the same page. I guess I'll open up the phone lines, and you guys can ride shotgun with me for a little bit. And we'll talk, perhaps. Maybe for a little bit. Let's transition over to our first topic of discussion, which is Skinwalker Ranch. All right. I'm not going to transition the screen over just yet because I'm just going to be talking off the top of my head. I've been reading the book Hunt for Skinwalker, which is written by a PhD scientist and George Knapp of Coast to Coast AM fame. He's also a journalist, investigative journalist, and maybe I'll bring up on the screen. Maybe I'll help everybody to understand what I'm talking about. Hunt for Skinwalker. It's a book. I'm reading it. I read it at night, and I get scared. I do. And I've been reading through this book very slowly, as I tend to read. And I already have like a fairly good overall view of paranormal activity, UFOs, Bigfoot, Dogman, and poltergeist events. And the Skinwalker Ranch book really incorporates all those elements from cattle mutilation, UFO sightings, portals, to your run-of-the-mill poltergeist infestation of your house. And it really is an infestation, poltergeist infestation. And I'll bring this up on screen right now so we all can enjoy this together. So in this book, I've gotten past the point where the family on this ranch have been plagued with like almost all the events I just described: cattle mutilations, big UFO sightings, Bigfoot sightings, Dogman sightings, and poltergeist infestation of their house. And a team of scientists have been dispatched to this location in Utah, Skinwalker Ranch. And every step of the way where they tried to go out and get photographic proof, video observation using infrared goggles or night vision goggles, this intelligence, this entity is like one step ahead. So they'll go to a location where they see a ball of light. They'll go out there, disappear. They set up cameras on poles that are like 15, 20 feet high, and they'll find that these security cameras have been dismantled from the inside out in particular ways where it's not easy to accomplish, and it would take somebody many minutes to unwrap electrical tape, take out the cords, climb the pole, and descend, and get it done in a way where it's not seen. And they had other video cameras pointed at other security cameras, so they're like watching each other. And none of that footage that was captured displayed anything on screen that would indicate there was a person that would climb up there and was doing this. They're chasing, essentially, these scientists are chasing phantoms. They're chasing entities that cannot be seen by the human eye. They will see balls of light that interact with the environment. These take the shape and color of let's say a basketball size blue sphere that appears to be filled with some sort of liquid. And those blue spheres kind of circle and maintain a presence around the house. But then you have other balls of light that are yellowish in nature and red that kind of go about the property, terrorize the cattle, and other people on the property. And what do I mean by terrorize? Like if they see a red ball of light, everything in the book thus far indicates that when you see this red ball of light, most of the people that encounter this red ball of light have an overwhelming fear. They become panicked. It not only panics the human, it also panics cattle, causes stampedes, causes horses to buck and freak out. And in a couple instances that these ranchers are out on their horses, they encountered this red ball of light. It panicked the horse so much, it frenzied the horse, driving it almost off a cliff, almost killing the horse because it did fall, and almost severely injuring the rider and the ranch hands. So these paranormal encounters do have real-world physical consequences. And as I'm digging through this Skinwalker Ranch book, there are some parallels to Missing 411 with how quickly these entities, now that you have the, I'll do a quick rundown of these types of objects or entities on Skinwalker Ranch thus far. We have balls of light. There are sightings of Bigfoot, but they don't really seem to interact with the ranch too much, meaning they don't come in and destroy stuff. They have encountered dog people, poltergeists, and also large black entities ranging from 6 foot to 8 foot, and they have been described as just large, a mass of black, almost like a moving shadow, but when looked at through FLIR or night vision goggles, they display no features, and they're able to navigate the environment without leaving any footprints behind. They've been shot at many times, and the people who have shot this entity claim that they hit it dead on and it left no blood trail. And even when this thing was chased by multiple people through the snow, it only left one footprint, one circular footprint in the snow. And that is bizarre in and of itself. So we have a creature out on this ranch that is able to come to and fro, leaving no trace of itself, and seemingly unable to be injured by guns, which is insane. The ranchers that have lived on the property seem to know when events are going to take place. They kind of get a sense of a stillness over the ranch, whether it is the insects and birds quieting down, and when they hear something like that, or the way the air seems to remain still, they know something's going to happen. And usually it's the sighting of a ball of light in the ranch or the grazing area for the cattle. And most of the time, after they see a ball of light, one or a couple of their cattle will be mutilated, either picked up or dropped. But they never really see it happen. They will observe the ball of light, observe the cattle. They'll turn to another segment of the farm or ranch, and then when they return, minutes later, they find one of their cattle severely injured, broken legs, and or just dead. And the scientists who are on the ground trying to investigate this stuff are equally as perplexed. They're called NIDS. This is Robert Bigelow's group, and he funds them to go out and basically be his personal Ghostbusters. He wants them to get scientific evidence of paranormal activity, ranging from anything. But they need to have some sort of solid video proof, magnetic readings, Geiger counters, stuff like that. And they have noticed that some night vision goggles are able to see these balls of light better than others. And they also have noticed that people that interact with this environment, some of them do display a larger electromagnetic field than others. Like the wife of the main rancher, the Gormans, she had many different encounters with poltergeists in the house, ranging from coming home, dropping off the groceries, and just to go into another room, come back, and the groceries are all over the place. So she's had many different terrifying encounters with poltergeists, and when they measured her magnetic field, it was off the charts. They started measuring it, and it was not anything else in the vicinity. They double checked, and then that field slowly faded. They don't know what this means. They have all these little pieces of evidence, ranging from a singular photograph of a ball light to these anomalous electromagnetic magnetic readings, but they can't pull it all together, and it's not reproducible. So these scientists are frustrated, absolutely frustrated, that they're not able to get the evidence they want to present to the scientific board to warrant maybe even further funding or investigation, bring in some more resources, who knows. But they're unable to reproduce the evidence that they need. But what they haven't, what they have discovered is that meditation seems to bring on the entities, at least near Skinwalker Ranch. One such instance is that before the NIDS team actually arrived on location, stories around the town have already spread. It was already kind of like a little bit of an urban legend about what was going on there. And other people around the area also had their own sightings with the paranormal, ranging from UFOs to Bigfoot. It's all that whole area. You go down there, you throw a stone, you're going to hit a Bigfoot. And word spread, and someone requested to come on the property, talk to the Gormans, and they asked for permission to just go out in the woods and to meditate. He just wanted to go out there and meditate. He didn't really offer any explanation of why or what he thought might occur. But Gorman, the ranch, I guess, owner at this time, he was the owner. He has since sold it to Bigelow, but at the time he was the owner. He led this person who wanted to do meditation out to a clearing, and he stood about, if I remember correctly, anywhere from 40 to 50 feet away from this person doing meditation, and the person just sat down. He just sat down and started meditating. And, the ranch hand was just, or the rancher was just observing this guy. He thought it was a little goofy that he just wanted to come to the ranch and meditate. But sure enough, that did provoke some sort of entity. They heard a large growl, roar, if you will. And what Gorman describes is a creature. This is broad daylight, mind you. He described a creature that was much like the predator, kind of stomp out of the woods, like rush towards the person who was doing the meditating, scream or yell or growl, some powerful animalistic kind of vocal expression, scare the shit out of this meditator. And he got up and just ran the fuck out of there. The meditator didn't even look back, and he never came back. And I think Gorman, the ranch hand, did reach for his rifle and try to crack off a few shots. So with that in mind, the NIDS, the scientists, they're called the NIDS. Let me find out what the NIDS exactly stands for. NIDS Skinwalker. What is it? I kind of want to know what NIDS stands for. I've been reading it all the time. It's just an acronym. And maybe other people want to know what NIDS stands for. I'm curious. NIDS, National Institute for Discovery Science. Okay. So the NIDS people, National Institute of Discovery Science, come on board, and one of the scientists wants to meditate. He has also been on other investigations and realized that when he meditates, it does provoke whatever entity is around in the environment to come out. So he scaled down to a little clearing. This is then like 2 o'clock in the morning, starts to meditate. He did that for about half hour, 45 minutes. Didn't really see anything. Goes back up to his little perch with his other partner, and sure enough, they start to see a yellow ball of light in the distance start to grow larger and larger. One of the guys grabs the night vision goggles, starts looking at it, and what the guy with the night vision goggles describes is a portal, a yellow three-dimensional portal opening up above the ground, and a pitch black entity crawl out of it, stand up and run into the woods. Now, meanwhile, the guy who did the meditating was not looking through the night vision goggles. He was trying to do long exposure photography and could not get anything of value. He got like a little dot of light, and he could not see the ball of light with his own eyes. The one observer, if I read it correctly, one observer was able to see it. The person who was meditating was not able to see it. So there was a discrepancy in what they were actually observing. But the person with the night vision binoculars described in detail that he saw this black shadow person crawl out of a yellow portal that erupted above the ground, and they estimated it was anywhere from 4 to 5 feet in diameter. Absolutely insane. They describe what they witnessed to the rest of the girls' scientist friends there staying on the ranch. But they just had a story to tell. They didn't have a good photograph. They didn't have any other recording. And that's what they're getting with their entire months. And I think they might even be up to a year of interacting with the ranch. All they're getting are stories. They can't collect any evidence because this entity, this whatever paranormal intelligence this is reacting to them before they're even making their moves. They're able to evade detection, play with them, essentially, show up where they're not. It is one step ahead, and as you're reading the book, you can tell they're just frustrated all to hell. They know something's there. They know it. As scientists, they know it. They have feelings. They've seen stuff with their own two eyes. They hear stuff, but they're never quick enough, or they're never in the right spot at the right moment to get it on video, film, or get any sort of electronic readings from it. So it is pissing them the fuck off. Pardon the language. But this is not the only ranch that experiences paranormal activity. They mention another ranch in the book. They don't even detail where exactly it is. They say somewhere in Colorado, and it's another ranch that had a long history of paranormal activity, UFO sightings, Bigfoot, and they say this ranch is fairly close to a United States military base. And this family who's on this separate ranch in Colorado, this is, if I remember correctly, is in the 60s, early 70s, was experiencing all the same activity that they were getting at Skinwalker Ranch in the 90s. But this was decades previous. And the activity was incredible. It was written about in a book. I'll post a book link up in the description. But what the family was experiencing was extreme poltergeist activity. One event was that the family was entertaining. They had some people over for like a dinner party. How nice! And while they were listening to the radio, and all the electricity got cut out in the room that they're in the house, and then over all speakers, including the television, stereo, and the record player, in unison, the speakers said, "We are watching you," in unison. And that freaked out everyone at the dinner party. Everyone was freaked out. So much so that one of the people at the dinner party was an electrician, took apart the radio, the TV to try to figure out how whoever was doing this prank, quote unquote, how they would pull it off by linking all the speakers together, and he couldn't figure it out. But the guy the lead ranch hand was frustrated. The family was frustrated. They were experiencing years of UFO sightings, beings appearing in their room, poltergeist activity, Bigfoot chasing people off their property, Bigfoot vandalism. These big feet, in this instance, were taking crops, throwing things, just being violent vandals, jobless and anarchistic Bigfoot, out of control. Oh my Lord, out of control in this one. But it kind of this story kind of culminates with the head of the family, the man, going outside screaming to these entities, if you don't leave us alone, I'm going to blow up the ranch, and if we can't have this thing, then no one can. And he got back like a telepathic message saying, okay, all right, hey, fine. Don't do anything. But a couple months later, the truce was broken, and he saw a UFO land in a wooded area nearby. So he marched out there with his rifle to go see what's up. I basically say, hey, I thought we had a deal. I threatened to blow up this ranch if you didn't leave us alone, and you broke the truce. So he marched out there to go, hey, give him what's what. He comes upon two platinum-haired, human-like beings and a Bigfoot hanging out. And the two humans were interacting with the Bigfoot. I don't know. They didn't say exactly. I don't know if they're playing checkers or something, but they said interacting in some way, communicating in some way. And the guy who walked over there was just awestruck. And in fact, so much so that he conveyed that he didn't feel like he was under his own control, like he was hypnotized in a way. And they communicated, and they expressed to these aliens expressed to the human that they're in full control. They can do anything they want, and even so much so they can control this Bigfoot. And they ordered the Bigfoot to pick up a rock and throw it down. That not much of a parlor gag, if you ask me. They could have had him do some jumping jacks, a cartwheel, a somersault. No, but they just had the Bigfoot just pick up a rock and throw it down at their request. But they assured the human that their interest in the property was almost over and everything would return to normal. But there was no deals to be made. This human, thought he could go out there, wheel and deal with these aliens. Quickly found himself under some sort of mind control, and he was only able to listen and receive information and not express his point of view on the situation at hand. Just bizarre. And there are a few other ranches like this. I think I'm going to compile a list of like these haunted ranches. But when you have these poltergeist interactions along with Bigfoot and Dogman, UFO sightings and portals, it's all. I know it sounds like we're all wrapping up every conspiracy and paranormal thing into one, but they seem to be interconnected. Almost as though there are certain sections of this earth that are dragged into other dimensions from time to time, and we interact with them. That these aliens and Bigfoot just glide or skip into our dimension occasionally. They skip into our reality just occasionally for a little bit, and they're able to dip in and out as they please. And while they're here, they are able to perform experiments. They're able to, I guess, abduct cattle for experimentation, destroy crops, and I suspect that these nexus points where UFOs can come through, or more easily they can come through, same with Bigfoot and these shadow creatures, that they're not interconnected. They just happen to go through the same doorway, much like Walmart. Rob in New York, you are on the air.
What's up, man? What's up, Mike?
Just talking about everything Skinwalker, poltergeist, Bigfoot, and everything I'm reading in Hunting Skinwalker.
Yeah, I was listening in. Some freaky shit.
It's
some crazy shit, man.
I'm reading this book at night, terrified. You know, and I'm sleeping next to my girlfriend. She's asleep, and meanwhile, there could be a Bigfoot in the closet. I don't know, but your mind goes crazy at night when you're reading this stuff.
Got to keep your feet under the covers.
That's how they get
you. As soon as that toe pops out.
You got to watch your imagination. I was reading it last night. It was like 11 p.m. My girlfriend's fast asleep. And as I was like putting down the book, I was like, what if a hand comes up from underneath the bed and grabs the book? I'll lose my bookmark. I don't know what's going to happen.
You never read another Skinwalker Ranch book as long as you live.
I got to just read this stuff during the daytime. I have an active imagination. What is on your mind, Rob?
So this stuff is pretty freaky, man. It's a nexus of everything. Supernatural, ghosts, aliens, dogmen, Bigfoot. That's pretty crazy.
It is. Yeah.
Have you ever heard of the Montauk Project?
Yeah, I have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's outside of like the time travel story aspect to it. There's also aspects of that that are supernatural. It's in the Montauk Project book, where they talk about they created a creature. They manifested this creature that came from another dimension and was able to go back and forth through dimensions. And like you described, it was like a big giant black shadow.
Yeah.
And it was pretty much indestructible. Like nobody could figure out how to control it or how to even like fucking damage it or anything like that. So that's pretty crazy. That's pretty similar. You think there's some kind of interdimensional thing going on here?
I think that my Walmart analogy, like how everyone has to use the same door to get in and out. I think that these nexus points are used by multiple different creatures, different entities, different beings from different realms, and while they can enter elsewhere, it's much more easy to enter into these locations. And I think that I'll talk about this on the Wednesday show, the Missing 411 show on Wednesday. I'm going to talk about this because I think this might be a somewhat of an explanation. There's people that think that the Missing 411 is due to Sasquatch or UFOs or some sort of portal, where I think they're all wanting the same. Or they're all part of the same doorway, and different entities use the doorway to get to and fro. And they're just these doorways just so happen to be sometimes on federal property or public parks. Not to say that these doorways don't happen elsewhere, but I think maybe they're more likely in certain locations due to mineral deposits, granite, or bodies of water. I think you're right. I think there's like certain ley lines or certain areas, certain latitudes on the planet that are more susceptible to like electromagnetic energy and things like that. And like you said, like it could just be a confluence of all that. Now, the Montauk Project, they're saying that the government was involved with that. Is there any stories about Skinwalker of like, any federal people snooping around the property or trying to, any like stories of people of anyone from the government or like black ops being involved with this stuff? Not that I know of for Skinwalker, but in the other ranch in Colorado, it was said that the guy who was the head of the family in the ranch in Colorado was so frustrated by everything that he was experiencing that he thought that it was the military doing tests on his land. So he was so frustrated and called up the base to complain to stop your tests over here, stop dropping people over, stop harassing my family, and that he supposedly talked to somebody over there, and the officer he spoke to claimed to ask him questions about his Bigfoot experience, his UFO experience, and acknowledged that the base itself was observing UFOs and wonder if he had any information about this. A bizarre communication, a bizarre and candid conversation with someone in the military about Bigfoot and UFOs. With this stuff, it's like I don't know what to believe about the Colorado ranch story. I don't know everything about that. The Skinwalker Ranch is much more detailed, and people are putting their names on this one. The family's name is there. You can go look at the property. It's well documented, and I haven't seen anybody related to like deep, some kind of government organization interested in the ranch. It's not. I think it's still owned by Robert Bigelow at this point. I mean, he's got connections to the government, but he's not black budget or a secret projects guy. He wants.
He's not a deep state or he's not in that deep.
No, he's fascinated by the topics just like we are. He's genuinely curious about these topics and wants to throw his money at it to get the best and brightest on this. And he's still looking for answers. That
would be great if we could get some scientific validity behind the stuff.
There's some. As
far as poltergeists go, have you ever heard the theory poltergeist activity is generated by your own subconscious activity?
Yes.
Like a super active subconscious or superconscious?
Yeah, I've heard that. I think that there's some elements of maybe validity to that. But I also think when in instance of Skinwalker Ranch, I think that when you have these nexus, these vortices, that it will create shifts in time, and that much like ghosts or maybe apparitions are reliving the past that you see, they're acting out some way. That I think the poltergeist is possibly an entity, just not non-physical, going through their daily life in that house that they did maybe 5 years previous. So it's like, I didn't buy these groceries, knock them on the floor, some shit like that. I don't know, but I think it could be just a difference in time. But God, how terrifying would it be that if you're experiencing poltergeist activity, it's coming from yourself? That's insane. Hey, Rob, where are you? Are you in a mountain?
No, I'm outside.
Okay.
And it's a little windy.
Yeah.
It's a little windy.
Hey, you got anything else for me? 'Cause I'm going to move on to some stories.
No, I'll let you get on with the show and stop the interference of the wind.
Stop
the hammering.
All right, Rob. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Have a great night.
Here goes Rob.
Okay, thank you for your call.
Buy some vitamins, buy some minerals, buy some water filters.
Yes, buy it all. That's all I'm going to talk about for Skinwalker right now, I believe. I will definitely bring it up on the Wednesday show for the Missing 411 show. I'll bring out some more articulated theories about Missing 411 and this phenomenon in general. Let's move on to our first story. I don't think I'll get to the glitched out unusual cases of disappearing keys and other objects because, well, that might just take too much time. I literally babbled and talked for a half hour straight. Someone's got to tell me to shut up.
The shampoo.
Okay. All right. Okay. We're all calming down right now. Calm down. Calm down. Okay. This is a story about the Dogman or man-dog sighting, whichever one you want to call it. Whatever you want to do. So this is terrified man films strange encounter with 6-foot half-man, half-dog after spotting mystery beast in woods. In the footage, the apparent dogman moves quickly through the thick undergrowth before disappearing from view. Ha ha ha. All right, well, we'll see what we can see. Here we go. I'm going to bring this up. This is up on screen? Yeah, it is. We're going to take a look at this half man, half dog, all power. I'm playing. Are you going to play? Here we go. That's the Dogman right there. We can see it on screen. So there is just overgrowth, a lot of greenery, and then in the top of the screen, a black object covered by foliage. And they're claiming this is the head only. He is hiding. That's what they do in the woods. They hide in the woods, okay? And so they zoom in, and as they zoom in, I'm definitely seeing a head of something. It kind of looks like the head maybe of a hyena, some sort of dog-like creature. And it's tough to tell the height off the ground that it is, but there it does appear to be some sort of something. I like the music in the background, the bass drops, and they outline the head. And they point to an eye. Okay, that's something right there. Okay, I'm on board that this is something. And here's the full video. Okay, great. Moving video. So, okay, why is it cut? What's with all this ambient music? Are we in a nightclub? Where are the bongos? And that's it. Okay. A man was left in shock after spotting what he described as a dogman, a 6-foot, half-man, half-dog creature running through the woods. Scott Carpenter was walking when he saw a dark-colored beast and decided to start filming. Hey, way to go, Scott. He used his computer software and stabilization tools on his own video to slow down the frantic action, and he claimed it shows creepy details about the odd creature. Why, Scott Carpenter, why don't you just upload the full video without any kind of modification, without the Aphex Twin ambient music background, so we can just see it for ourselves, pal? Come on. In the footage, the apparent dogman moves quickly through the thick undergrowth before disappearing from view. I didn't see that in the video. I did not see that in the video at all. I didn't see it scamper off. Mr. Carpenter, who uploads his strange encounters to his YouTube channel, which has had almost 5 million views, describes himself as an amateur Sasquatch, another name for Bigfoot researcher. What is his YouTube channel? I'm going to go there. Can we go to... Yeah, I want to go to his YouTube. Okay, let's go to his YouTube channel. Scott Carpenter. I'm kind of curious to see what else he films. I'll read the rest of that story here soon. But I got to figure out what Scott Carpenter, Dogman, is doing. Why don't they just provide a direct link on this site? They just ripped off his video. Okay. We're going to find out what else Scott Carpenter does. There we go. Scott Carpenter Dogman. Right there. There we go. This is him. I want to believe Scott Carpenter. I'm all in. Okay. Full screen. Let's watch this. And so, is this his most recent? There's something. Okay. He's got some stuff going on. Yeah, I know he's trying to do some stabilization stuff right there, but it ain't working for me, Scotty boy. But I appreciate your effort. So, yeah, he does have on his website, he has a lot of Bigfoot videos. He's got a lot of cryptid videos. And he's, he does a good job getting his video out there, I guess. So, I don't know. I want to see the other video, Scott. But hey, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt here. He said, during my research, I have encountered many cryptid creatures to include Dogman, gray aliens, cloaked entities, orbs, the little people, and Sasquatch. About this apparent Dogman video, he said, this is the Dogman which makes many uncomfortable. The stabilization tools bring out even more creepy details in this odd creature. So there we go. We have a Dogman sighting. I don't know what to say. I was kind of hoping that I would see this thing kind of scamper off. Maybe everyone needs to get some sort of stabilization tool when they go out there and film, because it's just a lot of panicked video quality. And if you know the area you're in, mark that off. GPS. Let's go back. Maybe I'll save Scott's YouTube right now. I'll give him a call. See if we can get him on the show. Okay. 614-389-1009. We're going to travel on to another story.
Hey, John Boy.
Oh, there's... this car is going to drop off this story for me. Thank you. Got the story. Oh, boy. I think that, what do you say? The chat. I'm going to give you a choice. Do you want to hear about disappearing objects, or do you want me to read some Bigfoot erotica? It's kind of up to you at this point. I can really kind of go either way. I could just stop the show altogether. I don't got to do shit. Hold on to this. Bigfoot erotica or disappearing objects by dimensional portals or poltergeists. I think maybe we got to go. Unknown in the chat is saying Bigfoot. It's conflicted. It's conflicted right now. Bigfoot about it. Okay. Maybe we can do some Bigfoot. Some Bigfoot erotica. Okay, I'll do that. Let's properly set the stage.
Excuse me.
I will show you exactly what I will be reading, please. Now, this comes from the very controversial Bigfoot erotica. Don't vote for Virginia congressional hopeful Deborah Wiggleman. Because he is full of hate, not because Bigfoot makes him hard. Kindle edition. It's a very long title for a book. Probably doesn't sell a lot, but I did buy this. I bought this for $3 so I could read. This at some point in time, maybe late at night, but mostly on the show. Here we go. Okay, I'll bring this. This is the. Look at this. The cover has this oily man with. For some reason, he's holding a magnifying glass, and there's a Bigfoot behind him. Is he insinuating that Bigfoot has a really small penis and that he needs a magnifying glass to see it? Or is he saying, I need this magnifying glass to see my own penis? I'm unclear of why there's a magnifying glass. I wish I could talk to Chuck Tingle, the writer. Is this Chuck Tingle's? Yes, Chuck Tingle. Thank God Chuck Tingle's doing this. He's doing God's work. Okay. All right, let's get into a little Bigfoot porn. Now, I'll probably have to set the stage. I'm just going to jump right into it. Okay, because I don't have a lot of time to, a lot of setup and, build with plot. You know, a lot of porn out there has a lot of good plot, and we don't have time for that. So what I'm just observing from what I read here on the screen is that there is a Bigfoot named Lomo. And they appear to be in some sort of setting where there's a couch and a camera present. So I don't know if this is one of those casting couch porn situations, but this is what we got. So it starts off. I realize almost immediately that there are two divergent paths laying out before me, each one of them capable of altering my life in its own powerful way. Oh, we got to interrupt. We got to call. Caller, go ahead.
What's up, bud?
Hey, who is this?
It's Dick Richards. I was just in your chat 2 seconds ago. They was told them about a UFO abduction that happened to me in 2009.
Hey, Dick Richards. Love to hear it.
Okay. Well, what happened was I just woken up. It was about 1:30 in the afternoon. We lived at the corner of number 99 Highway and 25th Avenue, which is right near White Rock. If you keep going down the avenues to Zero Avenue, it's the ocean. And if you keep going up 99 Highway, it's the USA, literally a couple hundred meters up the road. They scrapped the house and built a brick there now. So anyway, just got coffee and was standing out in the backyard with the two girls that it happened with. And we're talking for 5 or 10 minutes. And I went to walk inside, and they started screaming all of a sudden. They just went from 0 to 900, and they were, oh, what the F is that? What the F is that? And I thought by their reaction that somebody was coming over the fence with a gun. That's all I could think because of how crazy, how hysterical they went. So I ran across the yard, and it was a pretty big yard. So I ran over to where they were, and I'm like, what are you two screaming about? And Cindy goes, that. And she points over the trees, the real tall BC trees we had in the backyard. and this silver orb started to fly over flew over the tree, and I could barely see it for a second or two. And as soon as it crested the tree, my heart sank, and I was like, "Are you shitting me?" And the two women, they were hysterical. They were hugging, they were screaming, they literally were just screaming and hugging. That's pretty much what they were doing. And my chin's to the floor. Am I really seeing this right now? So this thing literally, it was probably the size of like a tennis ball up in the sky where it was, and it was this really odd shape of silver. I'd never seen a shade of silver like that, and it felt really, really unnatural. And it felt like I got a real sort of where your soul, you know what I mean? You're. It's like, okay, this is not good.
You had almost like a sick feeling.
It was. It was just something in my brain was telling me this is not good. So the thing flies over top of us and stops. I was like, oh my God, what's going on here? So as the thing stopped, along the bottom of the orb, like the bottom third, there was this little bright line appeared, and it looked like a smiley face, but right down at the bottom. And it was very thin, but it was like a bright orangey yellow light. And then it would have been my right, it started twinkling. And as it started twinkling on the very right-hand side of it, it was some sort of technology. And it started twinkling, and as this light moved along this sort of smiley face light, it started to get brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter in my eyes. I remember putting my hands up to my face, being like, what in the name of... And it felt like I took a breath, held it in for a split second, and then let it out again. I was consumed by this light, like completely. I couldn't see a thing. I was blind. And then it was like somebody snapped their finger, and we were back again. So this thing kept flying and along the path that it was going, and it what it did is as it crested and went inside over top of the house, it flew into invisibility. And what I mean by that is it looked like an invisible door was there, and it flew in this invisible door. So I could see half of the thing, then a quarter of the thing, and then it was gone. And I was like, are you know what I mean? Like, there's a million thoughts running through your head. I wasn't, I guess I had just been put back. So I was, a million thoughts running through my head. I ran inside, and I didn't mention this, but the two girls I was with, their boyfriends were inside, as well as all my roommates. There was 7 guys in that house when I went to get coffee. When I ran back in the house, I thought all the guys were still in that house. There was one guy in the house now, and he's crying, okay? And as soon as he sees me, he starts screaming, where were you guys, man? Where were you guys? Like, I mean, bawling his eyes out. Where were you guys? They had watched it happen out the window, man.
You got abducted?
Yeah, at the back window. They just watched us disappear. We were there and gone.
Like in a blink of an eye?
In the blink of an eye. We were there, and then where they were watching, we were gone.
Do you have... did they say how long you were gone?
Yeah, because I started arguing with the guy on the couch. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, we were going nowhere. We stood in the backyard the whole time. And he's like, dude, look at what time it is. It was at 3:45 or whatever, and I had just gotten up at after 1. The way it was about an hour and 45 minutes we were gone.
At that point, did you feel absolutely terrified that you can't account for that time?
Buddy, are you kidding me? When the dog looked at me, and the look that dog gave me, it was like, I'm telling you, it was like, buddy, I know where you were, but I cannot possibly convey to you the horror of what just, like, they wiped our memories. Our memories were gone. Like, we didn't remember it, which is why I was arguing with them. We didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
They're like, buddy, we saw you. We saw, like, but they didn't see that silver orb.
Have you thought about doing any sort of hypnotic regression to get that memory back if you want to?
No way. I'm not doing it. No way.
No?
I don't care.
You don't care? Huh.
Because, hey, man, I've heard a lot of bad stuff about things happening during hypnotic regression. You know what? I don't really want to know what they did, to be perfectly honest with you.
I'm of this similar kind of thought process. I had my Akashic Records reading, and try to figure a few things about whatever past lives I may have lived, and maybe it's best if I don't know all the details of my past lives. Maybe you're not supposed to know, and maybe it's something like that when it comes to alien abductions. Yeah, you might be curious, but when you start poking around. I've also heard once you start poking around there, it might send up a signal to them that and you might get more visitations.
Well, I'll tell you, they've come back many times.
How many times have you had UFO encounters?
Oh, easily a dozen or more.
So,
every time, this was the first time that I know of. Okay?
Yeah.
But I started studying into it, what these things were. And I really believe that they are deceptive demons. They are an extraterrestrial entity, and they live in a parallel dimension, not on another planet. And the reason I think this is because the way that I was able to stop them from taking me again, and that was by rebuking them in the name of Jesus. I was never a follower of anything like that. I was never a Catholic, or a Christian, I should say, not a Catholic. I was never a Christian. I was never a but until I always believed that Jesus was my savior, but I never followed in any sort of I didn't know what the deal was. But as soon as that happened, and trusted friend, told me, "Well, here, look at this," and said, "I've had the same experience out here," he said, "and I've been able to make them go away with the name of Jesus every time." And I'm telling you, those other easily 10 or 11 times, every single time. As soon as you say it, they go back in that invisible realm and don't bother you again for weeks, months.
I think there's something to that. There was a testimony by a person who encountered Mothman, and he did the same thing as you. And I don't know which way I sway on the UFO encounters. I think obviously if we're being visited by as many as what's being speculated, 50 or plus, they're not all good. And I don't know if you heard me talk about the Skinwalker Ranch situation, but those entities on that ranch, when they're mutilating cattle and terrorizing families, that's not something that a wise and intelligent race of aliens would I think they would do. I don't know if they get their
Why are
jolly.
They raping people? Why are they raping people?
They're taking people without their consent and doing operations.
Weird sexual experiments and just cutting people's arms off and letting them feel it. Like, who would do that?
Yeah, it doesn't add up to a benevolent extraterrestrial civilization looking out for our best interest. They might just view us as cattle, and that's sad. That's sad to think about.
And you know what? I've had several encounters. I had an encounter with a shadow demon, which was the single most. It affected me more than anything else that's ever happened. It changed my life in an instant. It changed my life that night forever. And so help me God, I'll never stray from that path. Do you want to hear that?
Yeah, I would love to hear that.
All right. This just now I've got, I don't want to plug somebody else, but do you know DDoS from BDRP?
I do not. I don't have a problem plugging people. If they have put out, if you think they put out interesting information and stuff, I'd be more than happy to talk about them.
Yeah, I did. Well, I did this show. Like, I did everything I'm saying. You can verify.
Sure.
It's Dick Richards, Canadian, has an encounter, a multitude of strange paranormal encounters.
What's the name of the show?
BDRP, Bigfoot Dogman Research Project.
Okay.
And Dee's my buddy, and he's the one that first did a show on this kind of stuff, and it actually really helped to get the stuff off my chest, and actually have people that understood this kind of a thing, and because I thought this world was interesting, but I didn't realize how all engulfing it actually is, and how, like I said, until this stuff happened, I was not a Christian. I was not. I thought it was interesting, and after that UFO abduction, I fell into the Ancient Aliens the Ancient Aliens field. But then I started studying about what they were doing to the people in Alaska when they were taking them up. Where's the place in Alaska where they're taking all the people?
Oh.
Nome, Alaska.
Nome, Alaska? I'm not familiar with that.
Apparently they tell a lot of those people that they're God as they're scaring the ever-living crap out of them. And it's like, that really struck a chord with me even before I was a Christian. I'm like, why have all the names in the world would this guy use God? And like, as they're like doing all these weird, sadistic, crazy experiments to the people, messing with their heads, telling them that, it just didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
So then,
let's talk about your shadow man experience before I get out of here.
So what happened there? I was walking my dogs, okay? It was about 11:30. It wasn't even that late. It was maybe 11 at night, and it was in November of 2016. So late November. So it was a crisp evening. It wasn't too cold out. Walking the dogs, I had two Staffordshire Terriers. They were both 13 and brother and sister. So I got around about 2 blocks from my house, and I go around the corner, and where it was sitting at a house that my friend used to own. I've been in that house a bunch of times. My brother's friend's parents own it now. So, like, I'm more than familiar with that house. But as I'm walking by the house, my peripheral vision catches something stand up on the top. It's like a smoking porch on the second floor. And these are all old Victorian houses. So they're like 3 stories tall. Like they've got a lot of attics that have been turned into extra bedrooms and extra floors, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So they're really tall. They're like at least 33 feet each, these houses. So this thing stands up, and keeps standing up. It was so friggin' big. And as it did it, it started roaring, and I felt this instant connection where it was right in my head. Now, where people talk about that mind speak,
yeah,
that some people say that Bigfoot and Dogman do, well, that thing was 100% in my head. I don't know if you've ever had a supernatural encounter, but every time I have, it feels like you're in a bubble where there's a definite atmospheric change, where it feels like your ears are it's strange. It's almost like you're isolated from the rest. It's a strange feeling, but it's happened every time. Happened with that UFO, happened with this thing, and happened another time. I don't know what they're doing, if that's the dimensional shift of these things coming into our plane of existence or what it is, but this thing stands up, and it was pure black. I mean, the darkest black. It cut through the night like it was bright, like it was so definable. The thing was at least 10 feet tall. It was as big as the wrestler Booker T.
Oh yeah,
I saw him at WrestleMania 18 in Toronto. Okay, and I remember from the 438 seats, I could see his back muscles perfectly. He was the biggest man I've ever seen in my life. That thing instantly reminded me of him by the way that its neck muscles went down to its shoulder. Like the top of its head was connected to its shoulder, was muscle. It was the biggest, strongest looking thing I'd ever seen in my life. And what really got me was that it had stereotypical devil horns.
Well, that's absolutely terrifying.
Yeah.
And you just heard a roar in your head, correct?
I heard it roar in my head, and then I could see through my peripheral vision that it was standing up on this deck, on this balcony. So as it did that, it jumped off the balcony down into the yard between the 2 houses and I said to myself, I'm like, I've gone instantly insane. I looked down at my 2 dogs. Well, my dogs are looking at it too, and they start freaking right out. So I'm like, okay, well, the dogs can't have gone insane too. Like if they're seeing it too, there has to be a little bit more something to this, right? So this thing was roaring so loud, like a million lions. I had to cover my ears. It was roaring so loud, and it starts shadowing me. Bad choice of words, but it starts, let's say, paralleling me. I was going up the sidewalk. I'm like, okay, let's go, dogs, let's go. As it was walking, facing me, like as it would be walking sideways, and it looked like it was like moving its fingers like it was playing the piano. Like it was trying to be all big and bad, and as it was like just as terrifying and intimidating as it could be. So I'm looking at this thing, and I'm trying to not, I'm trying to look away, but I'm like, is this thing going to jump at me? Is this thing going to attack me? It starts telling me it hates me. I hate you. I hate you. I hate you. I hate you, over and over and over in my head, in the most guttural tone I've ever heard. I've never, like, there's no voice like this in our, you know what I mean, in humanity. And this thing was in my head, and it's roaring and roaring, and it was hitting me with these infrasonics. I don't know if you heard of that, but it's like a sonic wave that some of these supernatural creatures can put out. I've heard people say Dogman and Bigfoot can do it too.
Yeah.
But it feels like it's crushing your organs. And it's painful. Like, I mean, like, it feels like somebody's like, but all, like, it's such a weird feeling where it's actually squeezing your organs inside your body, and it's like, every time it would roar. So I'm like got my arms across my chest. The two dogs are jumping over each other, trying to be the one that's farthest away from this thing. The thing takes one step and jumps up on the house next to it. One step, I'm telling you, one step, and it was just like whoop, up on the next three stories on top of the thing, and then it perched itself, all big and bad looking. Oh, roar, roar, and it's telling me it hates me over and over and over. I don't know why I wasn't more scared than I was. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. But this thing kept following me, okay? Down from the house, and it was one step, and it was doing it again, where it was paralleling me. And I thought to myself, I'm like, this thing can only get so close to me. I'm like, if this thing could attack me, it would have attacked me by now. Why is it not getting me? We get about 3 or 4 houses, and it's doing this each house, man. It's jumping up on the thing, up on the roof of the house, one step, and it was like this thing's like 10 feet tall. It's roaring repeatedly over and over and over and over again, and it was like hammering my like it was just when I got to the point where I said to myself, I'm like, okay, Richard, you can't take this thing home with you, man.
Yeah.
You cannot take this thing home. Okay, whatever the fuck this is, I can't take it home. So I looked at the thing, and the first thing out of my mouth, because this is a couple of years after this alien thing happened, and I had seen the UFOs get rebuked by the name of Jesus and disappear instantly. I turned to the thing and I said, in the name of Jesus, fuck off. The thing laughed at me in that roaring tone. Like, that's not going to do it, buddy. So instantly I was like, oh, wow, that's not it. I swear to God, I felt this hand on the back of my head and all 5 fingers. And as I told you, this thing's in my head.
Yeah.
I saw the thing. It was perched on a bungalow. Like, it was only like a 1.5-story house. So this thing was only like 15 feet away from me. The thing looks at whatever's putting his hand on the back of my head, and I sensed that it sensed its impending defeat through whatever it was transmitting in my head. It was like, oh, come on, kind of crap. Yeah, I swear to God. I felt all 5 fingers on my head, said to me and said, Richard, that's not going to do it. It said, you know what to say to this thing. Just do it. And I said, in the name of Jesus on the cross, I owe you nothing. I said, then this thing, just as soon as I said that, I said, on the blood of Jesus and on the holy cross, I owe you nothing. This thing went bananas, roared like one, like loud roar, instantly disappeared.
Can you repeat that one more time? Exactly what you said.
What I said is, on the holy blood of Jesus, I owe you not, and on the cross, I owe you nothing. And it's about Jesus' shed blood. That works like a weapon, like a sword against these evil satanic or these evil demonic creatures or these evil creatures of darkness, whatever you want to call them. It's the shed blood of Jesus. Apparently there's 7 sheddings. There's redemption, and you can say this too. Ideally, what you want to say to the things is, in Jesus Christ's name, I rebuke you, and on the holy shed blood of Jesus, we are redeemed, cleansed, sanctified, justified, given intercession, life, and cleansing. Our word, the testimony, and I love my life not unto death. And as long as you believe that Jesus is your Lord, that will defeat Satan himself, those words.
Those are
That's what God said.
those are some good tools to have in your back pocket if you encounter these creatures. Hey, I gotta get out of here, pal. What's your name? Oh,
It's Richard.
Richard, thank you so much for calling on. I gotta get out of here. I really appreciate you taking time to share your stories with us.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
All right, have a good night. Bye.
You too. Take care.
Wow, some incredible stories there from Richard. UFO encounters, shadow people encounters, and shadow people and/or demon encounters, and some handy advice if you happen to encounter those entities in your personal life. In the name of Jesus, you can get rid of those things. I've also heard when you encounter possible entities in the astral realm, you can ask them if they're a being of light, and for whatever reason, they have to answer yes or no. There's maybe some universal law there where they can't lie about being a being of light. I'd be interested into hear some more stuff. 1 second. Sorry about that. Had to let my girlfriend in. Haha. All right, well, hey, thanks everyone for sticking around for the live show. And we'll be back on Wednesday to talk about Missing 411 and other interesting topics and take some more phone calls. Joe will be here. I think Clown Baby's going to make an appearance. And we'll try to have a nice spirited conversation discussion about Missing 411. All right, thanks everyone. Have a good night.